Hey, adventurers. Crystal and I aren't here this week, but you know what? We've got a fantastic episode for you. I have a question for you, Crystal.
Okay.
By the way, hello.
Hi. I was going to ask you to define here. You said we're not here.
Well, we are here, but
What
as
do
you
you
listen
mean
to
by
this,
here?
it's our week away. We podcast for 8 weeks, and then we take a much-needed break, and then we get back on it.
It's okay. So what's the question?
Okay, so after this episode we're about to play, we're going to play the episode from the Point Mom, which was almost a year ago. It's 11 months ago that we had her on. Have you made any changes with your points or with the things that you do with points? Have you made any changes since then?
I no longer trust the portal. I was a big, huge leaner on the portal. And now, no thanks. I do more shopping around. I would always use Google Flights first to compare it with the portal. But now I know that checking for sales on airlines for a points transfer will a lot of times get you a better deal. Have I done it? No, but I know it exists.
I changed my hotel chain that I use to Hyatt.
Oh.
And I have to say, I'm accumulating points so much faster. I've stayed twice for free already. Where with Marriott, based on the number of stays I had, I probably would have stayed once for free. But here's the thing. We were looking for 2 rooms for this Christmas markets cruise we're about to take.
Yeah.
And we're staying at a Hyatt. And Cheryl goes, well, is it going to be $1 bajillion? I go, I don't know. Maybe I got enough points. And I looked, Crystal, I'm going to be able to get 4 rooms in a year for free because of Hyatt points.
Wow.
I know. And I didn't stay that much this year.
Wow. That is great. So thank you, Points Mom.
I know. See? You're about to hear from the Points Mom. That's good. The other thing I did was this. I'm going to show people my card. It doesn't have any of the numbers on the front, but it has these little stickers on them. And so I know that this is my everyday card because this Capital One card has the highest points multiplier of any card that I have. So if I don't know what to spend it on, it's this one. But I have one that's green for gasoline. I have one that I know which one to use for airlines. So I've got the different ones all located. Of course, I got the Hyatt card to get another free night and to move a bunch of benefits with the Hyatt card. So I got that one too. And now I've got my hotel card. I've got my everyday card. I've got my gasoline card and I have my airline card.
And you're maximizing points. And now you can, since you have that Capital One card, you can add, what do they call it? The lounge shopping. Because this week when I flew home to Reagan, there's a brand new Capital One lounge. It was closed because I was there super late, but there's another lounge you can visit. Do
you know what sucks though?
What? This
particular card does not have lounge access. The Venture X has lounge access. But what's cool is, and this is what I'm learning with the American Airlines points, because for everybody who's new here, I'm in an American Airlines only city. You can take any airline you want as long as it's American Airlines. But because of that, Cheryl upgraded to their black card so that you got the lounge access, and that's great. And you get huge points when you book airline tickets. But for everything else, it's only 1 times points. Yeah. If you really want to add points, the American Airlines gray card, which is the one we used to have, does that, but you don't get the status as quickly like you do with that black card. So I actually keep both of them, which is crazy. So I'm not doing that with Capital One. I'm doing this one because it has more points. But it's funny because I didn't realize when you upgrade your cards to get some things like lounge access, you downgrade some of the multipliers. So you got to pay attention to the whole thing.
That's a good point. We almost recorded a whole new show.
I know. She's like, I thought you said intro. 2 minutes, Joe.
Just kidding. I love it.
Shall we hit play then?
Let's get this show on the road. So, Joe, do you travel on points much?
You know what's funny? I do, but I always feel like I'm not getting the best deal.
I know my one was Thailand. The whole Thailand trip was all points, and I stayed at a very, very fancy pants place too. That was my flex.
Oh, that's fantastic. All on points.
Yeah, it took years of points, but hey, I was a big spender that year. It was right before COVID too.
That's fantastic.
Made out.
That's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So on today's show, we will talk to an expert in maximizing your points for more adventures. We'll talk about all the popular points programs, how to stack for even more points, and strategies you may have heard of that didn't really work. So we'll help you forget about those. We don't want to talk about them. Well, we do want to talk about Bruno, just so you learn the mistakes.
Nobody talks about Bruno, don't talk about Bruno. At the end of this episode and every show, you hear our Gear of the Day pick. If you're looking for best-in-class gear that's worth the price, head to our Amazon page, stackingadventures.com/gear of the day or GOTD. You'll help the show and you'll help yourself adventure better and for less money.
Ready for adventure? From vacation to staycation and from the mountains to the beach. This is the Stacking Adventures podcast.
So, all right. Well, welcome, Cindy. All right. Our first question.
Thank
Joe
you for
is going to give us.
By the way, thank you for
Well,
having
wait a minute.
me.
We got to tell everybody who we got here.
Okay.
Crystal, welcome to the Points Bomb. Cindy is here. How are you?
I'm good, and thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, and Crystal's so excited, Cindy, to ask
I'm
you the first
new.
question. Yes.
I'm new around
Okay.
Does anyone believe that?
We're going to talk about travel points with Cindy, but anyway, Crystal, back to you.
Well, you, it's your question.
Well, it is my question. We asked this backstage, Cindy.
And I did
Crystal,
much better then.
Yeah. No, you didn't.
We'll
Crystal
see.
liked the answer so much. How did you get into this? Like, what made you go from CPA and finance woman to, you know what? I wanna figure out how to travel the world for free.
Because when I was a CPA, I traveled a ton. And I would earn a lot of points and miles, flying on the airline, staying at the hotels. This was before there were credit cards that were attached to the airline and hotel program. So I was earning my points and miles the old-fashioned way, but I kind of got addicted, got married, had kids, wanted to travel as a family, but it's expensive. So kind of started doing it for my family, figuring out and applying for credit cards and getting big bonuses and using points and miles to travel. And then I started giving out free advice to friends whenever there was really big bonuses or good offers. And people would always ask me for advice and I would give them free advice. And people started to feel bad because they were taking too advantage of me. So people begged me to start a business. And I basically did. I have like a big Facebook group in my town with like thousands of people. And I threw it out one night on Facebook that I was pretty much starting a consulting business. And I was embarrassed and I went to sleep that night at like 10 o'clock and I woke up the next morning, like 4 people having emailed me to hire me. And it kind of just went from there. And so, yeah, so that's basically how I got started and what I kind of do now.
You always know, Crystal, that somebody's in the right business when everybody's asking you to do it and it's what you love.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
Like it came natural. And you had people begging you, please take our money. Please help us. That's a win in itself. See?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
I was nervous, but it's because it's valuable for people and they want to learn and know and travel for free.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you're going to teach us how to maximize the points game. But let's dive in some of those amazing trips that you've taken. Can you share some more details about like what were your favorite redemptions? And then what made those trips so special? Like how did you use your points and the miles to pull those off?
Right. Well, first I'm going to go backwards.
Okay.
Bit, and then I'll go forwards because some of the things that used to work doesn't work any longer, or it doesn't work as well. So I don't know how many people know this, but most of the hotels used to have award charts. So you could go to, let's say, for example, like any Bonvoy, like even a top tier Bonvoy, and you would only be charged 85,000 points a night. The hotel couldn't charge any more, even if they were banging on the doors to get in. It wasn't based on demand. There was an award chart. Now, a lot of the hotel programs have gotten rid of the award chart. So back in 2018, when there was an award chart for Bonvoy, I took my entire family for a week to ski in Aspen. We stayed at the St. Regis, which is especially like a February break or a Christmas week could run about $2,000 a night for that hotel. And taking advantage back then of the award chart with Bonvoy, that stay, had I paid money for 2 rooms, I have 3 kids, it would have been $26,000. The rooms were like $2,000 something a night. Using points, we got the 5th night free. Bonvoy still has that. But fast forward till today, that doesn't work anymore with any of the hotel programs that have nixed their award charts. That's Bonvoy, that's IHG, that's Hilton. The one hotel program that still does have an award chart is Hyatt. And I am whoever follows me on Instagram, I'm constantly touting Hyatt's because the value for Hyatt is still really good. They still have an award chart. So now fast forward to 2022, and I went to Greece, to Santorini, and I was able to use Hyatt points for I'm going to say it wrong, the Canaves Ia, an amazing hotel, also about $2,000 a night. But that hotel is only 45,000 Hyatt points a night. So we were there 5 nights for 220,000 points. And that hotel also would have been about 5 nights at 2,000, and it was 2 rooms. It would have been also about $20,000. And then the other one that I think I had mentioned before was the Alila Ventana in Big Sur. Another one. The nights are about $2,700 and just 45,000 Hyatt points a night. So I was there last fall. Also amazing, all inclusive, no kids. Like it's a high end, all inclusive resort that can be booked with Hyatt points.
I have a question, a granular question, and I know we're going to get granular later, but when it comes to using the Hyatt points, there's got to be only so many rooms that are available. I got to imagine, Cindy, that you had to schedule that like 6 months ahead of time. I would imagine those points for some of these key locations book up really quickly.
Way more than 6 months. So if you really want a very popular because there's so many people that know about the high end ones, like the one in Big Sur and the one in Greece. I was on it 13 months in advance. I knew the date that it was going to open. And I was basically woke up that morning, 6 a.m. I was on my computer. Now, there's a lot of us that are doing that when it first opens, but you could also just keep checking because people sometimes book and then cancel. So if you really want to, wanted that badly and you missed that time in the beginning where you could have gotten it, but now it's booked, just keep looking because they do reopen again. I went to that Big Sur hotel with another couple. I had booked mine, 13 months out. She got in like 4 months out. We just kept looking and she ultimately got it. So, but you do kind of have to be organized and you kind of have to know when it opens, where you want to go. And another thing that helps too is to just, if you could be flexible with your dates. So kind of nail down the hotel before you nail down your flights and then work your flights from there. And this is a lot easier for people. Now I'm an empty nester. I don't have to, travel anymore at school vacation. So it's easier if you, are flexible in terms of your times and dates.
Oh, that's a good tip to book your flight first, because that was my question, was about the dates. Like you were really flexible.
Right. No, book the hotel first.
Then hotel first. Right. Yeah. And work around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got it.
So.
Okay. So then flexible awards, that's a game changer. Can you explain why the flexible ones are better than just like the airline or a hotel card then for everyday spending or any spending?
Yeah. So there's different types of rewards. We all know airline miles, hotel points, there's cash back, and then there's what is my favorite, and it's flexible rewards. And those are like your Chase Ultimate Rewards, your Amex membership rewards, Capital One miles, Citibank thank you points. And the reason that I like people to earn those instead of airline and hotel points, number one, if you're using an airline card or a hotel card, you're locking yourself into that one specific loyalty program. There's no flexibility. pretty much, when you want to go use your points and miles. And two is, they're not valued as high as flexible rewards. So when you earn flexible rewards instead, most of them transfer to travel partners. So Chase transfers to Hyatt, Chase transfers to United, JetBlue, and Amex goes to Delta. And all of them go to tons of international airlines. And you definitely can, again, if you're kind of organized and do it enough in advance, you can get so much more value from your points by booking it through a travel partner instead of using your points through a portal for just 1 cent. So that's basically why they're better, and they have really good multipliers. Like a lot of the cards out there, they'll give you big multipliers for things you're buying every day anyway, like groceries and gas and takeout and restaurants, and on the business side, like advertising and shipping. So those cards in general are going to give you more per dollar, and the points are much more flexible and valuable because you can transfer them to partners and then book through the partner. And that's where you're going to get most of the value, more than a 1 cent.
Do you still Cindy, do you still sign up for all the different programs though? Like you mentioned Marriott, even though you went to the Hyatt, you still are in the Bonvoy program. You're still in the program, let's say for, you mentioned Delta Airlines, even though let's say you fly Southwest all the time, you're still in the Delta program. Like you sign up for the specific programs. You're just not focused on accumulating in those programs.
There's no downside to signing up for the programs. They're free to join. There's no minimum age to join. Even all the kids should join too. So I certainly sign up for all the programs, and especially with airlines, like I'm not so loyal to one particular airline. I'll basically find, what's the best in terms of price with miles or money sometimes if I don't have the miles. Hotels, still a member of all the hotel programs. And I don't only stay at Hyatt's. Like, first of all, Hyatt, the footprint is much smaller than Marriott and Hilton.
Right.
So a lot of places that you go, there's not going to be a Hyatt. So I am definitely still a member of all the programs. I'm very aware of where my points can transfer to in terms of the loyalty program. So I'm still staying at Bonvoys and Hiltons. I'm just not getting at times as good a value as I would with Hyatt.
It's funny, Cindy, I am not good at this at all, but we have one airline that we can use. We can use every airline as long as it's called American Airlines here in Texarkana. If it's called American, you can use it. You get huge flexibility. And by the way, you can take any flight you want as long as it goes through Dallas. You're good. So because of that, I fly a fair amount. And it's amazing the number of times I flew this year, Cindy. And you talked about not being loyal. I'm like, you know what? I fly American enough that I'm going to build status with American. Like, this is going to be a good thing. Do you know what happened, Crystal? I have built nothing. Like, it is so hard to build anything just through flying. I probably flew 40, 45 times this year, and I am still status next to nothing. I never get upgraded. I don't even get asked if I want to get upgraded. Here's the funny thing, Cindy, to your point, my wife gets their black credit card, right? That gets us into the lounges because we travel so much. She gets asked to be upgraded every single time. Like, she has like this idea, Cindy, to your point of quote loyalty. There isn't any loyalty on their end to me. I fly them constantly. They just, you have a credit card? You get to skip all these people that think that they're building loyalty. I feel like, Cindy, loyalty is kind of dead.
Well, let me just say a little bit about American Airlines, and then I'll go into the status part.
You're about to say it's dead for American.
No, the problem with American Airlines, and this may change as of like 2 days ago, there's some like rumors floating around, but American Airlines is an airline that is not a transferee of any of those flexible rewards that I mentioned. Nothing goes to American Airlines. So the only way to earn American Airlines, and we're going to talk about status in a second, but actual airline miles, is to fly American or have an American Airlines credit card. So there's a little exception to the rule of don't spend on an airline card or hotel card if you are somebody who lives in an American Airlines hub and you know, want to build up your miles and status. Sure, you can pull an American Airlines card more than I should be pulling an American Airlines card. But even with your flying, there's levels to your status, and maybe you're getting the lowest status on American with all your flying, but even that low status, you're still going to be beat out, like you just said, to people with higher status or people that are spending $595 on that credit card, basically, who are going to beat you in terms of getting the upgrade. So if you really do want to up your status, you should also, it doesn't have to be the fancy black card. You can get any American Airlines credit card. And, you know, what I tell people too, who really like to maintain or keep their status, come, you know, for American, it's March 1st. But so come March 1st, you put X amount of dollars to get you wherever you want to be with your American Airlines status. And once you get there, then you can throw that card in a draw for the rest of the year, basically, but use it to get you where you want with status. And then, you know, maybe you'll get the upgrades too. I actually don't know who would win. Basically, I think the higher the status could ultimately beat out the fancy credit card. The higher the status.
Yeah.
So,
and then going back to any American credit card, so do you think the ones that have the annual fee give you way more benefits than just their regular, like, standard card?
Right. Well, I mean, the free one basically doesn't give you anything, the American Airlines Miles Up card. But then there's the $95 card that gives you free bags and a little bit of earlier boarding, probably. If you spend X amount of dollars, you'll get a companion pass. I think it's like $30,000 in a year. But the nice one, the executive advantage card that Joe was mentioning that his wife has, that if you do, and again, if I lived in an American Airlines hub, I would have that card because I'd want to go into the lounge every time I went to the airport. So I do. If you live in a Dallas or a Charlotte or, you know, anywhere else,
or Texarkana, right,
or
not a real word.
I like that card. Into the lounges, basically, I would have that also if I lived in a American Airlines hub.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of, you know, credit cards with the fee because whatever fee you pay, the benefits are going to far outweigh that fee anyway.
Most of the time, yes. And that's enough. Like when I say I don't love airline and hotel cards, I just don't love them for everyday spending. I love them for the benefits, but you have to be honest with yourself. Like, are you going to take advantage of the benefits? You know, some of them come with a free night that I meet a lot of people that don't even know they have it and it expires, or even a companion pass that, you know, they don't use it enough. So I like the airline and hotel cards. I don't mind paying a fee as long as you use your benefits that come with the card, basically.
That's another conversation just about people letting things expire that they don't know. Like that's even, I guess that could be for another day. So then when you say you can transfer, let's say if you're a Chase loyalist, you can transfer to other hotels. Like, so are we safe to say it's a good exchange rate when we're exchanging miles? I've never been a person to transfer because I'm like, I don't understand that. What if they cheat me?
Right. Well, and again, you know, you just said you don't understand it. And I think that that's kind of what they bank on. No pun intended. They don't want people to transfer because Chase wants you to go through the Chase travel portal and use their people, which is just like an Expedia. It's just like going through any other travel portal, Hopper or, you know, Expedia, Capital One. So Chase wants you there. So even if you have a Chase card, flexible rewards, they don't even make it so easy for you to see transferring as an option. But when you do transfer, so if you have, let's say, a Chase Sapphire Preferred card and you wanted to book a flight to LA, you would go into the Chase travel portal and you would have a normal search place like you would have on anything else, Google, Expedia, and you would put in your dates and it would, you know, spit out a lot of flights and you'd be able to use your Chase points to pay for that flight instead of money at 1.25 cents per point, which is nicer than a lot of the other banks.
Yeah.
That's just 1 cent. Okay. What's the upside? 1.25 cents versus a cent with other banks. lots of downsides. One is you just went through a third party. So if you have to change or cancel anything, the airlines won't necessarily talk to you because you went through a third party. They're going to send you back through the third party. Sometimes that's like a nightmare to, get someone on the phone and then,
I've had this happen before.
with them.
Yeah,
exactly. So they want you to do that, Chase. So they make it hard to see where you transfer, but it's not that hard once you know what buttons to press. So then you have the option, instead of flying to LA on that United flight that you just booked through Chase Travel at 1.25 cents, instead you have the ability to transfer your Chase points to United at 1-to-1. So if you need 40,000 United miles for the flight, you would just transfer 40,000 Chase points. And what I normally have people do, I make them compare. Again, it's easy to go to Chase Travel and just book it. It's right there. And they say, use your miles. And you're like, sure. And you feel like you did really well. You didn't spend money. You used your points. But you should always look to see if you would have used less Chase points by transferring them to United and booking them through United. It only works with the actual bank's partners. Like, if you only have Chase points, but you want Delta flights, you don't have that option because Chase points don't transfer to Delta. Amex points transfer to Delta. So, again, it's almost what we talked about a little bit with the American Airlines hub. Like, Newark is by me, that airport, and that's pretty much a United hub. So if anybody gets in touch with me who lives in New Jersey, I kind of steer them to the Chase cards, knowing that they likely are flying United often and that they'll likely always have a nice little bucket of Chase points to transfer to United if, when they want to fly, basically.
If we're taking a trip, let's say we're going, let's use Crystal's example of Thailand, and I'm leaving from Texarkana. I know there's a lot of different airlines out there, Cindy. If I'm looking at flights, how wide should I make that search? Do I, for me, I'm American, but if I drive 2 hours, I can get to United, to Southwest Airlines, to Delta. I can get to these other airlines. How wide do I make that search for, airline deals and where to transfer my points? Because I think that's where a lot of us get lost, right? There's so many options. I mean, we just did this deal just recently where I found out that if I transfer my Capital One points over to British Airways and I drive or figure out how to get my butt to Austin, Texas, which is 5 hours away, I can do business class for a hell of a lot less money to Greece than if I took American Airlines the whole way, a ton less money. It was so surprising. But I'm just imagining, Cindy, you've got 80,000 spreadsheets open in front of you with 75 airlines, and it just seems like a quagmire.
Yeah, I mean, what you're kind of alluding to is something called a positioning flight. So you position yourself in another city or state to get a better deal. And it honestly depends on how much is it worth to you to drive the 5 hours. I'd probably do it for a business class flight to Europe where you want to
totally
lay flat and go to, it's 100%. So again, some people, they would look at me like I had three heads if I ever suggested something like that. But other people, you may want to get the really good deal for the business class flight. And again, one thing that I don't even do it so much for me. I mean, you can go down a rabbit hole, not even necessarily with only positioning flights, but with airline alliances, booking instead of on Delta, looking at British Airways, or looking at Virgin Atlantic. So there's so many different things. And when you said a million spreadsheets open, to be honest with you, for me, it's I don't have enough time. I would drive the 5 hours, but I don't have enough time to have a million spreadsheets open. And a lot of times I do just don't do what's easy in terms of using a travel portal like Chase. I'll just really quickly transfer my points to United, knowing that I'm doing well. Maybe I could have done better, but I don't necessarily have enough time to figure out how to do better. But
that's great to hear.
Positioning flights is an easy thing to do. And I would do the exact same thing. I would. I've even thought about sometimes not only do I look at driving, I've looked at even flying, I live in New York, flying to Atlanta, like maybe even taking a positioning flight to get me somewhere else and then fly from that city. So I've looked into that. I've never done it, but I would do it.
You know what I love about your answer though, Cindy, is you kind of said what my mom says all the time, which is don't make perfect the enemy good. You know what I mean? If you're doing great, like don't, cause I can imagine it's easy to get, well, there must be a better deal. There must be a better deal. There must be a better deal. There must be a better deal.
It's a analysis.
Analysis paralysis.
Exactly.
Similar. I did my flight from Dubai was, to go direct. I was from New York. So I hopped on the mega bus to go. And so, that perfectly worked for me.
Yeah.
I have what's funny is how comfortable the mega bus is.
Yeah.
It's surprising. My son took the megabus to school. He went to school in Austin and he would take it to school. And the first time I'm like, I don't want to put my son on this bus. And he's like, Dad, it's really great. They had Wi-Fi the whole way. I was able to do my homework. Yeah. The seat was comfortable. He's like, I'll take the megabus anytime. And it was inexpensive. Hey, we do have a question from an adventurer who's hanging out with us live, Crystal. Yay. And Cindy, this one's from Amy. She says she's in Gainesville, Florida. Hey, Amy, thanks for hanging out with us. She asked, why does it take Amex weeks to post my reward dollars to my account? I want to drop them due to this. She said Capital One maybe takes a day and it's so much better. Do you have any idea, insight about why American Express seems to take forever?
I do. Compared to Capital One. Because Chase and Amex are kind of the same. Amex and Chase, they make you wait till your statement closes to get them the points and miles. They don't post them immediately. Capital One, you could buy something for $5,000 one day, and 2 days later you have your miles from Capital One. They do it the minute you purchase. Yeah. Amex, they make you wait for your statement to close, which is annoying. Now. They don't make you wait for your statement to close necessarily if you apply for a card for a bonus. Like pretty much the minute you hit your spend, you'll have your bonus. Or if you take advantage of like an Amex offer where you're going to get 5x on Amazon, you won't get your points for your Amazon purchases until your statement closes, but you'll get your bonus points quicker. You'll see it on your membership rewards activity, like it'll be a little star with bonus. So, but it's I agree with you. It's annoying. It's been like that forever.
Well, but I could see why they wouldn't want that. Because what if you buy the $5,000 thing, take your trip, and then return that $5,000 item? I don't know if they put you in a points deficit or something. So
you could have negative, but
you can. Okay, well that's good.
But they'll pursue you like any other. When you don't pay. It's not like people could really do that and get away with it.
Okay, well that's good to know.
Hey, here comes the music, Crystal. That means we're halfway through today's show, so I think it's time for our road trip pit stop. On the pit stop, you're always dreaming about what's at the end of the adventure. How cool is this all going to be when we get there? Are we there yet? Our pit stop is a hint at our gear of the day, and you can see past gears of the day. But Crystal, we've been building up a fantastic shop of cool gear to take with you. That's at stackingadventures.com/gear of the day or GOTD. Crystal, it's your week. What is our hint at the new gear this week?
All right. So this hint, as the dog that I'm dog sitting is trying to get in my chair.
You are dogs. We were prepping the show, Cindy and Adventures, yesterday, and Crystal kept getting kisses. I kept watching Crystal get kisses from some friend's dog.
Yes. Okay. So, all right, here's my hint. All right. So I use these to turn my trips into, I would say my personal sanctuary of fun. I would also say, I guess you could say they're little lifesavers in a bottle, but it's not.
In a bottle?
Well, I wouldn't say in a bottle either, but I'm saying lifesavers. I say lifesavers, but I'm not talking about the candy, but they're lifesavers.
I could see Xanax at our Amazon store.
No. Well, no, I'm not going to say what the answer is. But...
Oh, so, okay. Cindy, any idea?
Yeah, sanctuary of fun.
Sanctuary of fun. In a bottle.
Well,
I mean,
it doesn't have to be
fun. not necessarily fun, but sanctuary. Just my sanctuary, like.
Huh.
Yeah.
Cindy, you have any ideas?
I'm focusing on the bottle. So
yeah, me too. I'm thinking, I'm sure this is wrong, Crystal, but I'm thinking that little, some people take with them because it's easy to drink like sodas when you're on vacation and to just, hey, if you're 1,000 miles away from home, it's sugar free and it's fat free. So I'm just going to put whatever I want in my mouth. So I know I've got a couple friends, actually the creator of FinCon, Philip Taylor did this when he was losing weight, brought, I think it's called Mio. It's the little thing that you squirt into water to give it some flavor. And so you take that there and it's your little sanctuary of fun. I'm sure that's wrong, but I think that would be a cool thing to pack, especially if you want to try to stay more healthy than eating all the time. There's for everybody listening to the audio. Crystal's getting some.
It just hopped right up.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm going to sit in my chair so there's no temptation.
Cindy, anything at all? Any ideas?
I'm going more with something like maybe like bath beads that you like. Something that you use at home that you'd want to use away as well.
Well, imagine you're at that high end.
You said bottle.
Yeah, you're at that high end hotel in Santorini, like Cindy does, or Big Sur, and you've got the jacuzzi tub, and now you've got your bath beads. That's interesting. All right. Well, we're going to see if we're going to lock those in here in just a second, and we will be right back. Hey, what's the perfect travel-ish podcast that pairs well with Stacking Adventures, Crystal?
I do. You've got to check out the Everyday Bucket List podcast. It's hosted by our friend and friend of FinCon, Karen Cordaway. She is the author of, wait for it, the Everyday Bucket List book.
Oh.
It's the same as the podcast. And it's all about helping people transform their everyday lives into extraordinary ones by scouting out local adventures or dreaming up a big trip.
Karen has a ton of ideas, everything from big once-in-a-lifetime adventures to simple weekend getaways. She hasn't talked about doing this on Points yet. Maybe we got to introduce her to Cindy, by the way. Seasonal bucket list, local things to do. The episodes are short. They're practical. They give you tools, tips, and even some money hacks to help make your dreams a reality without smashing your budget into smithereens.
Karen covers a wide range of episodes. Sometimes she's flying solo, sharing personal stories from her own bucket list journey. So you're getting practical advice from someone who's actually been there.
I know I said this before, Crystal, but I really like the episodes where her husband co-hosts with her because you can feel the fact that they've been married for a long time, which is a lot of love and a lot of fun.
And she also brings on locals and experts to share their insights. There's also a dash of humor and creativity, especially with her snarky robot that chimes in on the show.
So if you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed with all of life's commitments, especially during the holidays, the Everyday Bucket List podcast will definitely inspire you to make time for the things you love. It's all about making life more exciting with a variety of price points. So definitely, when you're done with us, give it a listen.
It's available wherever you're listening to us now. So you already said, try it.
Hey, Crystal says, try it too. All right, Cindy, time for us to lock in our guesses before we get back to you. You going with bath beads?
I am.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to stick with the Mio. I think you and I both might be wrong, but
I agree.
But you know what? Even as wrong guesses, bath beads take nothing to put in your bag.
True.
And that little Mio thing is just, it's a little tiny dispenser. It's both of those don't take up any much room. Although I'm not sure if the Mio thing's small enough. I think you get it through TSA. I think that's small enough. Anyway. All right. Crystal, back to you.
Back to us. All right, so I want to go back to something you also said about the spending, like how you said, like from March 1st, spend the max, you could put the card away. So do you have multiple cards and you keep a spreadsheet of, okay, 5,000 in groceries or however much the bonus is for groceries, I've hit it with this card for the month, well, not 5,000, but or whatever the number is for the year. All right, now it's time to switch to this card so I get my gas maximization, or you just stick to a card. I love this card, I'm going to use it. What's the good strategy for that?
There are a lot of cards, not a lot, but there are some cards out there that it is capped, like an Amex Blue Cash Preferred. So every year with the Amex Blue Cash Preferred, you get 6% back in groceries.
Wow.
But it's capped at $6,000 for the year. So any of my clients that I know have it. People, like I kind of keep track of who has what, and I'll send email reminders out to my people with Blue Cash Preferreds, maybe in like March and April, saying, hey, you guys, don't forget, if you've hit your $6,000, it's time to put that card away and take out XYZ other card, basically. Not every card, though, is like that. There are some cards, some of the caps, if there are caps, like an Amex Gold card, it's $25,000 for groceries for the year. Unless you're have a family of, nobody's really hitting 20.
Football.
Some people may. Right. So, in general, the same cards for where I am. I don't really have cards with low caps that I have to think about. My husband actually has his own business, and that's, we didn't even get into that, but we can too. People that have their own businesses, they have a whole other separate line of expenses that they could earn points and miles for that could be combined with the personal points and miles. But there's a couple of business cards out there. Also Amex, one that I love, an Amex Blue Business. It's free. It's 2x per dollar on everything. Amex doesn't make a card like that. That's 2x on everything except for this Amex Blue Business. But for bigger businesses, they cap you at $50,000. So the minute you go to 50,001, you're only earning a 1x per dollar. But that's something that I make my husband take out every January 1 because I want those 2x per dollar. And he, uses it, and I'm on him. When I say I'm on him, I'm the logger inner to see where he is, basically. But he's the spender. Yeah, that's so you do have to be mindful of caps. And another thing in terms of spending you should be mindful of too, especially at the end of the year, is incentives. Like maybe you're a teeny bit away from spending $30,000 on your American Airlines card or $30,000 on your Hilton card, where that would take you to get a free night or a companion pass. So I also have people, and most people probably don't do it, but at least I try to help people remember that there's also spending incentives every year and not to miss them by a little bit. It's kind of silly, basically. So
see, this is the reason why you need a consultant, because I don't see myself I've just heard of this for the first time today. I've probably been missing out for ages, my whole credit life. Possible.
It's a lot of it is really overwhelming, but even just making one or two changes can make you better. Maybe it won't be perfect, like we talked about before, Joe's mom, and but it'll be better.
And it just makes me think, Cindy, that just waking up on January 1st with a strategy. I'm going to use this card first. I'm going to use this card second. I'm going to use this card for gasoline. I'm going to use this card for groceries. I'm imagining that I might have little stickies on my cards that the red one is my.
I make them.
Oh, do you?
I make these for. I make these for people. I don't know whose this is. It should have probably been mailed already. But so based on what I learn about people and what I advise, and I make them a plan. Then I make them little cheat sheet cards that hopefully they have in their wallets and they keep with them. And in all my cards, there's always a default category. I call it for my husband the when in doubt category. And he says to himself, am I in doubt? And when he's in doubt, there's an everything else category, basically.
That's wonderful.
I love how this is totally a marriage like Cheryl and I, where I turn to her and I'm like, am I in doubt? I'm fairly certain I'm in doubt, but I'm only 56 years old. I don't know. Am I? She's like, yes, Joe, you're in doubt. Oh, thank you.
So let's go back to the business. So this is for business. So why do small business owners benefit? Is it for business expenses only? Is this for everything under the sun until that maximum?
No, I just use business because I wanted to talk about that Amex Blue business.
Yep.
That's why I brought up a business.
Gotcha.
There's on the personal side, cards that give more than 1x per dollar on groceries, on dining. On the business side, there's a lot of business expenses where you can possibly get more than 1x per dollar too, like advertising, shipping, telephone, dining, business travel. So,
got it.
Small business owners, the most potential for bigger buckets because, again, they're earning and spending on the personal side of their lives and on the business side. And often the cards are from the same banks. They're in the same logins and all the points can be merged together.
I know that we have limited time left, Cindy, and there's a topic that is near and dear to me, which is this idea that I've only come across recently. I'm like, oh, I might be able to stack these things. Like with my American Airlines card, and this is all around American Airlines, I found out they had a dining program. I don't pay attention to the restaurant and make sure that it's an American Airlines dining place, but every once in a while on my statement now, I'll go, oh, you ate at this Mexican restaurant, you got extra points. And then I found out I could do that with Uber. I could also do that with my American Express card where I get points in my program with Uber. With the hotel stuff, talk to us about stacking points, because I think this is an opportunity we can all start taking advantage of.
Yeah. So a lot of the loyalty programs have partnered with restaurants or rideshare services. And as long as you know them, there's probably a place on my site that I have them, but as long as you know who the partners are, you can double dip. So let's say your Uber account is linked to your Bonvoy account. You can pay for your Uber with whatever card you want. Hopefully you're paying for it with a good travel card where you're earning a 3x per dollar. So if you pay for your Uber with a Sapphire card, you're going to earn Chase points for that ride. You're going to earn 3x per dollar on your Chase points. But also when you took that Uber, it's linked to your Bonvoy. So you're also getting Bonvoy points on that ride. And there's a lot of different partnerships, even like Starbucks. For people who really like their Starbucks and their Starbucks app, you can link your Starbucks account to your Delta Sky Miles account. So people go to Starbucks every day. So every time you go to Starbucks, and again, you should use a really good dining card for Starbucks, like one that's a 3x or 4x per dollar, flexible reward. So you're earning that on your Starbucks. I don't know so much about Starbucks because I don't go every day, but you're probably earning Starbucks bucks or whatever they're calling it as well. And you're earning Delta Sky Miles. So that's like a triple dip,
That's cool.
For
Wow.
That is so neat. Starbucks points, credit card points, and the Delta points, all with one trip. I can see some of our adventures going to Starbucks now 18 times a day. And
well, but that one trip, you're getting paid 3 times to go. That's totally didn't think about. That's genius.
Yeah.
So then besides
maybe I'll start going to Starbucks. I don't go to Starbucks so much.
I mean, I'm not a Starbucksan. But besides letting things like being super close to like unlocking a bonus, like what do you see people do wrong when it comes to the points also?
I mean, one thing that I see a lot of, and I remind people of this on Instagram all the time. And again, it's kind of like the same thing I said before about Chase not wanting you to know about the transfer. Another thing that most of the banks do is they entice you to try to use your points for purchases. So I have a lot of people that I meet with that they're all happy about and excited that they use their points for Amazon, like their Amex points for Amazon or their Chase points for Amazon. Because when you check out of Amazon, if your cart is $500 and instead you see something next to it that says, do you want to use 80,000 Amex points to pay for your Amazon purchase? And in your head, you're like, ooh, I don't have to spend $500. Like, let me say yes to that. But basically, they enticed you to do that. You're only getting, when you do that, a 0.6 or 0.7 of a cent. Oh. And they want you to do that because you're getting less value. So that's one thing I see all the time that I nix that right away. And they don't know. People just don't know that there's better and more valuable ways to use your points than using them at checkout when you're kind of getting tricked and enticed to use them. And you shouldn't, basically.
Cindy, I've heard some of these crazy stories about people doing, especially at the end of the year, like, quote, mileage runs with airlines. So they get the X number of things. So they go to the next status level. I've also heard recently that's dead. Like, don't do a mileage run to do it. It totally isn't worth the juice, isn't worth the squeeze.
Right. Well, it's not dead in terms of you're not going to not make the status. You're still going to make the status. But unfortunately, like, especially like with Delta, the status isn't as good anymore. First of all, they made a million changes, like 10 months ago, that it's harder to get the status. And you're competing with people too, like we kind of talked about in the beginning with the American Airlines. Like, you're competing with, even if you have like nice Delta status, you're still going to get beat out by the business travelers, let's say, who are flying Delta all the time and they're going to Japan for business. So it's just the status isn't as valuable anymore because they changed it, where your level is, even if you're platinum, let's say, it's not as good as it used to be because they changed some of the requirements, and now you're going to get beat out by people that are higher than you because they're really the people sitting on the airplane. So, and again, like, if it's an easy mileage run, like me flying to Chicago for the day, like, I may still do that because it's easy and I can, leave in the morning and come back later in the afternoon. I have a local airport. But again, it's not as good as it used to be, like everything else, just it's losing value. And maybe Delta will come back. Like, there's a lot of people, including myself, that we are losing our Delta status. I didn't go for it again because it's too hard to get and it's not as good. So maybe Delta will rethink all the changes that they made and make it easier again.
Yeah. And there's another question too on my American Airlines page. Whenever I'm booking the flight, there's always that page too that says, hey, do you want to buy miles? Buy this number of miles for this amount of money, this amount, and this amount. And I've been told previously that's almost never worth it unless you are that business traveler. Is that true as well?
I don't recommend buying miles unless let's say you wanted to fly to London and you are like 2,000 miles short of your ticket. Like, and again, remember, American Airlines, there's no partner that transfers to it. So it's very hard to get American airline miles. So so you have the choice. You're either buying your plane ticket to London, or you have, let's say, 48,000 American airline miles and you only need 2,000 more. That's when I would suggest topping off your account instead of having to buy a plane ticket. Because again, now, I didn't tell you guys the rumor before about American Airlines, but basically what I started to see yesterday is that Citibank is becoming the sole issuer of American Airlines credit cards. Right now, it's Citibank and Barclays Bank that issue American Airline credit cards. But starting in 2026, their partnership is becoming exclusive, Citibank and American Airlines. And there have been rumors so far that Citibank thank you points will become a transferer to American Airlines. So and those two have flirted in the past. Like, there was limited times, and this was like 3 years ago, where you were able to transfer your Citi thank you points to American Airlines. But it was like limited times, and then it went away and it never came back. But so I am hopeful and then that's a game changer, to be honest with you, for American Airlines. And
we
then
have
you wouldn't have to work.
We have an old thank you rewards card that we haven't used in forever because we started using different point programs, Cindy, and I got a bunch of thank you points sitting there in limbo. That would be, please, God, American Airlines, do that. Please, please, please.
Especially for you in Texarkana.
But again, don't spread it as like fact. It's not fact.
It's a rumor.
People are speculating, basically.
Yes.
Exactly.
Just do it, Citibank. Just do it.
Yeah.
The water's warm. Come on. Yes.
Yeah.
Crystal, I think we got time for one more
example. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's all right. Continue.
I was just going to say, in that example, then you wouldn't need to buy the American Airline miles. You would have, hopefully, thank you points that you could get those extra 2,000 miles that you need.
You can transfer in. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm so glad we met at FinCon, and this is like another shameless plug, because when you go to a place like FinCon, you're going to meet people that want to help. Like, we're not bragging about stuff. We just want to help each other. So tell us about how you even ended up at FinCon.
Oh, this is a great story. Crystal was telling me the story earlier, Cindy. This is funny.
Right. I actually work with a company like that, for some of the credit cards that I recommend. And I didn't even know about it. FinCon, I think it was, what month are we in now? So it was in October. I don't remember when it was.
Yeah, a couple months ago.
So I got an email basically like, I'm going to say a week in advance saying, if you're going to FinCon, tell us and we'll hook up with you. And I was like, FinCon, what's FinCon? And I clicked into it and I saw that it was in Atlanta in like a week. So I have a local airport and I have lots of miles, or I have at least a lot of transferable points that I can transfer into my airline program. So I was able to fly for free. I'm very into Hyatt, like I said in the beginning, and I love to keep my globalist status. So it happened to be taking place at the Hyatt. Got lucky there because I would have stayed at the Hyatt anyway and just walked to the hotel, but it was at the Hyatt. So I was able to get another 4 nights towards my globalist status. So I was able to stay for free, fly for free. And then I met people like Crystal, and here I am now because of it. So it was definitely worth it, but very last minute. And again, if I didn't have the ability to use my miles for my free flight or use my hotel points for my stay and get status, I probably wouldn't have went. But because I have a lot of buckets to play with, it was like an easy no-brainer. And I probably would have spent more money at home doing my normal life, basically. But I saved money from going to Atlanta.
For people watching us on YouTube, on the Stacking Benjamins YouTube channel, they've got your QR code. But if people aren't watching us, if they're listening to the audio podcast, Cindy, how do they reach you to dig in more?
Well, I do put a lot of stuff on Instagram, and I try to keep everyone updated on like offers and tips and changes. So my Instagram is thepointsmom_. You need the underscore. I have a website, thepointsmom.com. And then I'm on all the other things that I don't use as much, but I am on them, like LinkedIn and TikTok. But my main thing is Instagram and my website, basically.
Okay.
I've got a TikTok account too, but I don't dance, so I feel like it's wasted.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I enjoy it. Cindy, this was so incredibly helpful. Crystal will link to all that in our show notes page. So people want to go to stackingventures.com, look at the show notes. They can learn more about Cindy. And I mean, it's going to save you a ton of money. Yeah. Like learning how this stuff works. Yep. Dive in, people.
I learned a lot today.
All right, Crystal.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, we got one more thing though, Cindy, you and I have to learn, and that is what the hell is this gear of the day? Because it's got me confused. I've got no idea. Crystal, give us the clue one more time.
All right. My personal sanctuary for my trips turns any trip wherever I go. And it's like Lifesaver, but I'm not talking about the candy. Lifesavers. I travel with my Lifesavers.
All right. So you stick it with the bath bombs, Cindy?
I guess so.
Yeah.
It's so big.
I'm sticking with the Mio.
Focusing on Lifesaver?
I know. She keeps saying Lifesaver.
No, it's not Lifesaver. No, I wouldn't say.
All right. I don't know. I'm going to stick with the Mio as well, the little thing that you put into water that makes it tasty. All right, Crystal.
It's my travel sprays. Remember one episode, I'm like, you can't focus because you don't have your focus spray. So I have different sprays, like, so hand sanitizer spray. I spray not the whole cabin and have everyone coughing, but I spray my seat, the tray table.
Oh, yeah.
And then when I get to the hotel, I spray everything, light switch, toilet handle, like
Cheryl uses
everything.
Cheryl brings baby wipes just for that same thing, Crystal.
That's a good idea.
We get on the plane and she
so
rubs down
it is a little bit like a lifesaver.
It is. Well, yeah, that too. But I have like these little super smaller bottles, like for the purse, and then like small, like little bigger bottles, like that go in the bag to like I spray till like these puppies are empty, and then I refill them.
So I got to ask you this, Cindy, when you first met Crystal, because Crystal does this every time she and I meet in person, she like sprays me down like immediately. Like she's like, this guy looks like he needs to be sprayed. Did she do that to you when she first met you?
No. See, I must look a lot cleaner and healthier than you.
I guess.
Right.
I'll try not to take it personally, Hammond.
It reminds me of that scene in Trading Places when the lady, she was in the jail to pick the guy up and she like sprays the perfume. That was funny.
I'll try not to take it personally, Hammond. I try not to. But it is kind of weird when I'm in a group of people and Crystal comes over and starts spraying me like it's, mace. Something.
He's a liar.
Yeah. All right. That's going to do it for today. If you have, tell us about your points adventures and ask even more questions. We'd love, Cindy, if you're up for it, to have you back and maybe we can take some adventure questions. But what are some of your big travel wins that you've done using points? What are some point strategies that you've used? We're going to do an episode here in a couple months that is all about you. Head to stackingadventures.com/mystory. stackingadventures.com/mystory. That's our voicemail where you can leave us a 5-minute message and you can be a part of the next show and tell us about your travel adventures. We also need your travel adventures about, what do we have on tap? Ghost tours, your wine trips, wineries that you've been to, wine adventures you've done, and your trips to Ireland. We actually have gotten one for Ireland. And I just had a couple great people recommend a couple great ghost tours that I can't wait. We're going to talk about that next week. But let's talk about points and using points. Bring those. stackingadventures.com/mystory, or you know what? Just go stackingadventures.com/voicemail. Both of those work. That's going to do it for today.
That's a wrap.
Crystal, your big takeaway today
is the one thing I'm gonna definitely start doing is because I'm a Chase portal junkie, so I'm gonna see what my points are worth, like if I transfer to American, because I do fly American a lot, and not American, but or United. Like I have
United,
DC,
United.
I have a lot of options, and I'm not loyal. Yeah, I'm not loyal to
That's
any
like
airline.
Me in New York.
Yeah, so I have never once checked to see if I can transfer what the bang is better. So I'm going to start doing that.
Well, mine is definitely, I'm locked into American, right? For the most part, but looking at this idea of stacking more, like I don't pay enough attention looking at all the weird perks that my cards have. And when I just barely, and frankly, it was an email to me that said, hey, you could do Uber and have that be added to your points. I'm like, really? Like, I seriously, how long is it going to take me to just go look at my credit card and go, oh, what other benefits do I have that I'm not taking advantage of? Like doing that. And then I also like the advice from Cindy, don't make perfect the enemy of good. Like, just try to do better. Don't, because I tend to go, freak out, and then I get analysis paralysis and I'm done. So great stuff. Cindy, thank you so much for mentoring our adventures today.
Thank you. Yes.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right. She is Crystal.
And I'm Joe. Thanks, Joe.
We'll see you next time, Stacking Adventures.